Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the HTTP protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's an application layer protocol. As we know, protocols are basically certain rules that are followed by all the networking devices for the internet to work accordingly. So there are lots and lots of protocols today that are running on the internet, and these govern how the internet works. So whenever you're using a web browser, you're basically using the HTTP protocol. So whenever you enter a URL or an IP address to reach a particular website on the web browser, it will contact the web server with that IP address, and the web server will return the contents of the web page like the data, audio, video, etc. And the web browser will read that data, which is in the form of HTML data, and render that to you as a UI. That's how whenever we type any website on the web browser like google.com, the Google page appears on our screen. So the HTTP protocol uses the TCP protocol at the network layer to form the connection, and it also uses the destination internet IP as that of the web server so that it can reach the web server. And so we will see that when I show you how the connection and contact happens, how the headers of each layer is encoded and decoded. So there are actually different versions of HTTP. This version 1 and version 2. I think there are two versions right now, and also we have HTTPS, which is the most secure form of HTTP protocol, in order to avoid any middle mile attacks and everything. So it encodes the packet and sends it out. So that's addition to what we have today, right? So let's just see like how the HTTP packet or the HTTP message looks like. So today we have as we have discussed before, we have the data link layer, which is the layer 2 layer. This particular layer will have the source MAC and the destination MAC. IP layer will have the source IP and the destination IP. The destination IP will be that of the web server. It has the TCP protocol running at the transport layer, right? So we will form a TCP connection with the web server, and then we'll start sending the HTTP request message. Okay, and then we have the HTTP at the application layer. Now this HTTP packet, right, will have this particular information over here, right? So we have method. So this method is basically in a HTTP request message, it's either get or post. Get is basically it's trying to get the information from the URL. Post is basically it's trying to update certain information to a particular web page. Okay, and this is the URL, which would be your, like, say, google.com, and then this is the version, which version it is using, HTTP 1 or HTTP 2. Then we have certain headers, like the host name, the language is which it is accepting, and all of that. Body of the message, this is basically optional. If you generally when you get a response from the web server, this body of the message contains certain information. So in the response, we also have one more field called as status. As you can see sometimes on the web pages, right, you have, when you type a URL, you get a 404 error, which says that the particular page could not be found. So like that, we have different HTTP statuses, and one such status is 200 OK. 200 basically means that the connection went through successfully, it received the request, and the response that the web server is sending back will put the status as 200, saying that whatever you requested for, that information is there in the body of this message. So there are different types of messages. I'll post a link in the description below. You can just go through the different types of messages which are possible and just read about it. Now let's talk about the how the messages are being sent across the two devices, right? So it's possible that we could have a web, let's say the web browser is our client, and the web server is our the server, the destination server, which we want to reach and get the information from. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about like all the layers, right? So let's say this is my application layer, right, which is running HTTP, and this is connected via a port to the transport layer protocol, which is TCP. Now the TCP and the HTTP. So HTTP will basically put all the information in the packet, and let's say data with the method, the URL, um, the headers, the different headers, the body, uh, all of it would be, and the version, all of would be encoded in this particular data message, and it will be sent down to the layer 4. This is, let's say, L4, right? And then TCP will form the header of L4 with its all the source port, destination port, acknowledgement number, sequence number, and different flags, whatever it has to set, and will be sent down to the layer 3, right? IP layer. So this would have, layer 3 will have the destination IP and the source IP. Source IP would be the IP of this particular device, and destination IP would be the IP of the web server, right? Makes sense? So whenever you enter on the web browser google.com, a DNS resolution happens over there, and it will return a particular IP address. Now that IP address would be the destination IP. So that IP would be used, and over here in the layer 3. Okay, then again we have the DLL layer, data link layer, right? So we have L2, we have L3, we have L4, and then we have the data. Correct? Now this packet is formed, and now this will be sent to our the web server over the internet. Let's say over here it's 2000 port number, and over here it would be the same, right? We have the HTTP application, we have the TCP running, we have L3, and then we have, what do we have? L2. Yeah, so at every stage packet will be decoded and it will be provided to the HTTP, and HTTP will see that that this is a get request, HTTP get request, right? Get request, and it will see that it is basically asking for a particular URL, and now the HTTP response over here will generate a response packet with the body having all the information that it has requested for. It could be media, it could be a file, it could be audio, it could be just text. Everything, all that information will be over here, data, with the status saying that 200 okay, and this will be again sent back from the web server back to web server. Over here would be, okay, this would be like this, right? It's all going up, it's bottom up at the host, at the server side, right? As I had mentioned before, like certain applications have fixed ports. Generally they use, web servers use port 80. Now the data is sent back, this is as HTTP response packet. Okay, so this is how, using HTTP request and HTTP response, a web page is loaded on our web browser. Makes sense? Now there are certain different versions of HTTP, HTTP1, HTTP2, then there is HTTPS, which is the more secure version to prevent attacks in between on the internet, so that nobody can modify the data of the HTTP packet. So HTTPS was developed, right? So all these extra features were developed later on, after once the HTTP packet was developed, and all these features keep getting added. So I'll post a link in the description below. Just go through the different types of statuses, the message format, and the HTTPS and HTTP, and what differences does version 1 and version 2 have, just for your information. But this is how in general the HTTP protocol works. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys.